Hey everyone, welcome back to the Educated Associate YouTube channel. Today we're tackling a crucial topic that many of us face, especially new graduates, and that's the fear to start investing due to the lack of financial education. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by the world of finance and you're unsure where to start, you're not alone. I want you to come with me today while I explain my background and how I got started in investing, and if I can do it, others can do it too. For some reason, advertisements on television make financial education seem like this overly complex topic only understood by the Wall Street gurus. But let's be real, if you can master bonding a Class 2 resin and preparing the tooth, you can absolutely understand personal finance. As I mentioned, I've dedicated over 5 years to learning personal finance. As I've alluded to before, I've used a combination of reading books, so here's just some of my favorite books that I've read. Other than the books, I was lucky enough to attend seminars, I joined several mastermind groups, and I've taken a very hands-on approach to my personal finances. It has truly been a journey filled with learning, and to be frank, sometimes the best learning happens through failures, which I've certainly experienced. For example, I've overextended investing and had to quickly sell off those investments to cover an emergency, and after I paid my taxes, I ended up losing money. I've also been guilty of purchasing individual stocks, thinking that I could outperform the market, and I was proved wrong again. And again, this happened to me more than once. But the good news is that after trying, failing, going back to the drawing board, learning, and trying again, I've now had some success and I'm feeling incredibly confident in my financial strategy. If you're still with me, let's dive into how I overcame the knowledge gap. I have a personal belief that the best way to learn anything is to physically go do that thing. Clinically, we all know that reading books or attending CE will potentially help us learn a new skill, but there is simply no exchange for a live patient course where you get to do that new skill the day you learn it on a real patient. The good news with finance, as opposed to clinical dentistry, is that we can really lower the bar of entry quite a bit. We aren't going to need to take as much risk as doing surgery on a live patient to learn our financial skills. For me, when I first graduated, I was like many of you, full of dreams, but I was uncertain about my financial future. I had a mountain of student debt, and the thought of investing felt scary to me. Like many of us, the fear of losing money, especially since I was new to the game and had such high debts, just kind of had me sitting there for a while. In hindsight, I'm not sure how long it took, but eventually I decided to take the plunge, and I began investing with a mere $25 a week. Yeah, that is right, I started out with just $25 a week. Looking back, I can confidently say that I lost money when I picked some of those individual stocks, but here's the key. That tiny amount of money is really negligible in the grand scheme of my life, and it got me started, and getting started was the key. What I eventually gained from those initial investments was the confidence to start investing and keep going. The experience taught me lessons that no textbook ever could. Just like many people experience a transformation within their lives after they physically start working out, leading to better eating habits and potentially better overall lifestyle, my journey into investing evolved into something much more significant by just starting with those initial $25 weekly investments. Initially, my focus was solely on the act of investing, but that small weekly contribution became my gateway into the world of finance. As I invested, I found myself craving more knowledge. I wanted to understand why certain stocks went up while others were going down, so I began to read books. Books led me to financial news and future exploration in online resources. Nowadays, I liken my evolution to the overweight guy that starts lifting. He then starts giving up his nightly ice cream, and then he maybe starts eating more salads at dinner time. So really what happens is one healthy habit leads to the next healthy habit, which leads to the next healthy habit, and eventually your whole life has evolved. This evolution also happens with investing. The more I learned, the more I wanted to invest, and gradually, as my earnings increased, I was able to increase my contributions because I was feeling much more confident in my decisions. Eventually, in my evolution, I transitioned from picking individual stocks, an approach I now recognize as very risky, to investing in diversified options like index funds or exchange-traded funds. This shift to exchange-traded funds not only reduced my risk, but it also simplified my investment strategy, so for me, it was a double win. I was able to see firsthand what many of the books I read talked about. Picking individual stocks is nearly impossible on a personal level, but picking exchange-traded funds that go up over time was, well, very easy. The initial trepidation was largely due to my unfamiliarity with the subject of finance. By simply starting, I had transformed my fear into a foundation of knowledge and experience simultaneously. Today, you might find yourself in a similar situation, but this is the point where I have to admit that I find personal finance, investing, budgeting, and tax law fascinating, which I realize is fairly rare amongst other dentists. So instead of spending years yourself learning to navigate this curve, I created a high-value, 1-month course designed specifically for dentists to lay a rock-solid foundation on personal finance and get you started with budgeting, investing, and growing your net worth. If this sounds like something you'd be interested in, don't hesitate. Use the link in the bio to head over to my website at dentalwealthmastery.com and let's jump on a free strategy call to see if we can get you started on your journey today.